Okay. Hi, I'm John. I'm the warehouse manager. This video is going to be a basic rundown on how to repack a truck when you're coming back from a party. There are two predominant things that you absolutely need to consider when you're packing a truck coming back from a party. The first thing is it has to be tightly packed, and the second is that each row has to be roughly the same height across the top. You don't want rows that are different varying heights because it's going to end up with a tip problem, and then we're going to have major problems with breakage and headaches when we're cleaning out the truck at the return. Okay, my personal preference is that all dishware be stacked against the bulkhead of the truck. That way you have three solid sides that you know are going to stay put, they're not going to shift. Don't have to put dishware on first, but as long as you keep it tight and you keep it even across the top, you should be fine. The concept of dishware first is because they're most fragile and least protected of all the equipment that's going to and coming from the parties. We don't want them falling over. If you have a lot of space, you can see they're likely to tip. So it's a safety issue, it's a budgetary issue, and it's a cleanup issue. Okay, so this is the last of the stacks of plates that we have. We have one extra rack of dishware. It's the 11-inch square plates that don't even up real well. So I don't want to stack those higher than the rest of the dish racks or they're going to tip over and break. So you can see all these dish racks are evenly set. They're not going to tip over if we can pack them in a little tighter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move all of the glassware racks in. We're going to start stacking them here so that it's consistently tight and even across the top. Okay, now you see that we've gotten a stack straight across the back of the bulkhead. Everything's tight. And we have about a 9-inch to 12-inch space here that's wide open. If we leave that empty, as soon as the truck takes a hard turn, this glass rack is going to tip over. Again, that's lots of breakage, that's lots of money for the department. I will be absolutely miserable if this happens. So what we have to look for are things like the dirty silver bins, the buckets, anything you can really stuff in there to keep it from moving too much. Anything wider than the side of your fist is no good. The next thing we're going to work on is we're going to bring the gray bins in because we've got all our dishware, all our glassware racks stacked tightly. We have a rather large space here that we need to fill or we're going to have more falling and tipping stuff. So to do that, we're going to use these gray bins. They're going to slide in nice and tight, and we're going to stack them really close right there. You don't have to worry about being gentle. They're not going to break.
Depends on what's in there. There's last.
Should be.
The bins are deciding to take a beating. Thank you, Steve. Okay, so now we're done putting all the glassware racks. We have our gray bins on. We have our blue linen bins on. They take up a lot of space, but what we'll do now to save space, because we have these speed racks and warming cabinets that have to come on, we're going to make use of the space inside of them. So there's a lot of empty space here that you can stick stack bar boxes and percolator boxes into. It's really simple to continue to stack straight in. Now you've just eliminated excess stack. All right. Just like the speed rack, you can use the inside space of the warming cabinets to stack equipment and excess gear. Empty sterno cans or used sterno cans should be thrown away at the party. So now that extra rack of dishes that we had, we can stack nicely inside the warming cabinet and it's secure. You know they're not going to fall, they're not going to break. That way, I don't have to spend more money than we need to. All right, so now we've made some space and we've stacked some additional gray bins that are kitchen bins into the space here with the linen boxes. We added the fryers. They're stacked in with the speed rack. And there's one stacked up top here. Now we're putting the air voids on. We're going to stack those on this side in front of the warming cabinet to lock everything in place. Again, even, same height, tight. That's the priority.
You
Okay, so now we're starting to add the chairs and the tables on with the miscellaneous oddball stuff. What we're going to do is, every time you can, you want the 8-foot tables flush up against the wall, standing up completely straight. From there, you just continue to pile on. If you have 1, you have 3, you have 5, that's fine. You just stack them out from the wall. If you have 10, you stack 5, and then you stack 5 on top the same way you stack the 5 on the bottom. No problems. If you need to, you take a ratchet strap that more than likely was sent with the party, because that's how the tables were stacked to begin with, and you strap them into place so that they don't fall over on you. Doesn't feel good when tables fall over. Okay, so the next thing we're going to put on are the Chiavari chairs. You never go more than 7 high on this. If you have to go 8, you'll go 7 high stacked regular. You flip the top cushion up, you flip the other chair upside down. It'll sit so that the back is not above the height level of the back here. You'll have the feet just about even, and it'll give you plenty of space on top to be able to open and close the door. You have to make sure, though, that if you go higher than what your stack is behind it, that you run a ratchet strap across the front so that it holds them up and they don't tip forward. And then at the back end, we'll put a ratchet strap, 2 ratchet straps, across the back to hold everything in place so they don't fall back. Okay, so your Chiavari chairs in a lift truck fit 5 stacks across, again 7 high, so you're getting 35 chairs to a row. The next row will go the same. We'll have another 35 because there were 70 chairs sent to this party, and then we'll strap those in place so they don't fall over. Okay, so this is the example. We have 7 chairs here stacked. We have 1 chair left over. We're not going to make a new column and a new row for 1 chair. So your 8th chair, upside down. The feet don't extend past the back of the top chair. It's down low enough that it's going to snug in, and you're not going to have any problems once it's strapped in place. Okay, we're going to strap the chairs in place now so they don't fall over, and then we're going to finally put the last of the stuff on there. This is your ratchet strap mechanism. At the moment, it is completely loose. You want it loose so that you can pull strap through if you need it, or you can pull it short if you don't. You always start with the loose end away from the mechanism, and if you can, you start behind one of the cutouts or the supports for the wood slat that goes across. You run across the straight side, and then in this case, you're right next to a support. You want to drop the hook through the support and behind the slat. You want to come up, and you want the hook facing away from your slat. You want the open end away from your mechanism. Now, the mechanism's in place, you have your hook, and there's an awful lot of slack on this line. So to do it properly, you have to grab the short end that's not attached to the hook and pull it semi-taut. Just get it so that it stays where it needs to be. Inside the mechanism, there's a brass hook or a brass clasp. Your thumb goes on it and lifts up. It releases the ratchet mechanism, and you just operate it like that. Now it's nice and snug. The chairs aren't going to fall back too far, and that's the top mechanism. Now, you always want to go 2 straps across on the chairs, because if you don't, they're bound to slide out from underneath, and then you have a big mess and you can't get the rest of the stuff either on the truck or off the truck when it's back at the shop. So it's the same process for the lower strap. Now in this case, I'm going across from up high down to lower, just to give a little extra support across the wider base for the strap. Now your chairs are in place. They're not going to fall backwards. They're pretty well snug. Now, when you're loading tables onto the truck, it's best to put the tables on largest against the wall and go out inside. So in this case, we have 48s. We're going to go 48s first, then our 36-inch round, then our 36-inch high tops. We'll get them all on the truck and in place. All the high tops at Jeffrey Miller Catering are numbered now. On the underside, you'll have a number 1 through 37. We have 37 high tops. Every high top that goes to a party is recorded as to which party each high top number went to, and then when they come back into the shop, we check them in. We do that because there are weekends when we have 27 to 30 parties, and we need to know where the high tops went. If there aren't enough to come back on the next night to send back out, we know where to check for. Okay, so with your high top bases, they slide right into these slats and they lock in place. That way, we don't have any major problems and they don't take up a lot of space, so we can save space on the truck. Sometimes. All right. For the high top poles, they can slide right in behind the tables, in where the chairs sit, or you can slide them in between the chairs. Wherever you have space is fine. Okay, so the truck is just about finished being loaded. The last things you want to put on are the trash cans and any food that has to go back into the kitchen that the chef tells you about. You don't make the decisions. You don't bust to the trash. You take the food to the chef to begin with, and if food has to go back to the kitchen, you take it to the chef will tell you, put this on the truck last. So the trash cans and this bin specifically is the only bin that has to go back to the kitchen. So that's put on last. The chef is aware of it, and that's how it works. The truck's packed relatively tight. You're not going to have any problems with things falling over, and that's pretty much it. Last bag of linens is on, and we're done. So I hope that's helpful. Please pay attention to it, because based on this, we're going to reinstitute the Truck Packer of the Week bonus, and I'm the guy that gets to decide who gets it. So if my trucks aren't packed right, and I'll know, you don't get money. Good luck. Thanks.